Let's talk about Game 7s in the NBA and NHL playoffs. I'm sure you've heard by now that Game 7s go under the total. In this video, we're going to talk about, is that true, and to what degree is it true, and why is that the case? Let's get it started with the NBA. It's 2026. We've seen 4 Game 7s so far in these playoffs, and all 4 of them have gone over the number. Now, that's a small sample size, and I got to point out that 3 of those 4 Game 7s occurred in the first round, and first round Game 7s tend not to trend under to the same degree as round 2, the conference finals, and the finals. And if we go all the way back to 2003, unders in the second round of the playoffs trend at 63% to the under. In the conference finals, that bumps up to 88%. And in the finals, it's 100% to the under. Since 2006, that's the last 20 years, I've taken a look at the average combined points in Game 7s, 66 Game 7s over the last 20 years, and the average combined points total, 195. And that is significant because I did bet on the under 205 in the Pistons Cavaliers Game 7. And I had a lot of people telling me that this was a sure over because the total was lower in Game 7 than it was in Game 5 or Game 6. But as we can see, the average for a Game 7 over the last 20 years, 195 points. And if you're thinking to yourself, yeah, but they score more points than they have in recent seasons, they score more points than they did 20 years ago. Well, how about we just take a look at the last 12 Game 7s, which is just over the last few years, because half of those Game 7s combined for 200 points or fewer. So despite the fact that scoring is up, scoring still lands below 200 points regularly in these Game 7s. Let's move on to the NHL. Since 1996, unders are 44, 26, and 9 in Game 7s, and that is 63% to the under. Now, when you consider that those 9 games that ended in pushes were likely games that landed on exactly 5 goals with a total of 5, if you look at totals of 5.5, Game 7s have gone under at a rate of 53 and 26. That's 67%. And if you look at recent years, since 2021, just the last 20 NHL Game 7s, 14 of those 20 games have gone under 5.5 goals. That's 70% just in recent years. So do games go under? Do Game 7s go under? You bet your ass they do. Now we got to discuss why they go under. And actually, the reason I'm doing this video is because when I did bet on the NHL Game 7 between Montreal and Buffalo last week, I cited these statistics and these trends going back to 1996, and I got an interesting comment that I'd like to share with you. High Key Donkey says, Jesse, how can you use that 30-year sample size to represent a completely different cohort of players? As a biochemist, that's like trying to predict the mechanism of mutation in a certain gene after it has mutated 20 times while trying to still use the old mutant as reputable data. Well, I can certainly say that I'm not a biochemist and I can't speak to the mutation of genes. But when it comes to Game 7s in the NHL and NBA playoffs, I can certainly speak to that. So what I will tell you is the reason that Game 7s go under the total has absolutely nothing to do with the cohort of players. And let's discuss why these Game 7s go under the total. First off, you have some fatigue. You don't get to a Game 7 without suffering certain banged up bruises, injuries, just general fatigue. You've been playing an awful lot of highly intense hockey. Then you get to a Game 7 and the stakes are high. So teams start playing not to lose rather than playing to win. In ice hockey, you often see a team both teams will be very conservative early. Often you see scoreless first periods. And as soon as a team scores a goal, that team in that Game 7, I shouldn't say always, but often tries to win that game 1-0. They're up 1-0. They're not going to take any more chances. In fact, I think Montreal won a Game 7 with only, a dozen shots on goal this year. As soon as they scored, they just tried to shut it down. And that's a common tactic in NHL Game 7s. First team that scores, they try to win that game 1-0. If the other team manages to tie it, it often takes the majority of the game to even the score. Once the score becomes tied, then both teams tighten up. A lot of these games go to overtime as well. So these Game 7s, the under trends, it doesn't have anything to do with the cohort of players. And let me give you some examples. Let's say Game 1 in both the NHL and the NBA. And the fact that these trends hold true both in two different sports, it gives you an idea that it's not about the players. And let's have a look at this one. Game 1 of an NHL or NBA playoff series. What percentage of the time do you think the home team wins Game 1? I'll tell you, it's going to be a significant percent. And it's going to be true in recent seasons. It's going to be true all throughout history that the home team wins Game 1 the majority of the time. Does that have anything to do with the players? No, it does not. Why does the home team win the majority of Game 7? It's not because home ice advantage is so key. It's because the better team gets home ice advantage in every particular series in both the NBA and the NHL. So it's just, it has nothing to do with any cohorts of players. I'll give you another trend. Since 1950 in college football, if you have the wind blowing 35 miles an hour, the total trend's under. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Doesn't matter who the running back is. It doesn't matter how many Blitnikoff wide receivers you have. If it's blowing 35 miles an hour, chances are the game's going under. And it's got nothing to do with cohorts of players. And I'm shocked that a biochemist can't figure that out. Anyways, moving forward, we have the numbers. The numbers are in. There's no question that the under is the bet in a Game 7. In the NBA, maybe you skip the first round, but I did say the average combined points over the last 20 years in the NBA in all Game 7s, 195 combined points. That is the average. And 6 of the last 12 Game 7s have landed on 200 or fewer. So if you're looking at a Game 7 and you're looking at the total, I'd tell you under or pass. Definitely don't bet the over. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you've got anything to say to me, even if it's nasty, hit me up in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.